My little intro. Welcome to The Real Build. I am your host, Bill Ryman, your broker builder. And today I have a special guest coming all the way from Las Vegas, Nevada. Great city. He is the owner of a seven-figure company that is disrupting the retirement account industry. Daniel Blue, thank you for coming on The Real Build. I'm excited to talk to you about some financial stuff today. How you doing?
I'm good, Billy. Thank you for the invite, man. I've loved what you're doing with the podcast. Seen you crush it in that arena, and thankful to have met you. Shoot, how long we known each other? Over a year now. With,
Yeah, over a year
RJ?
now, man. It's been great getting to know you too.
Yeah.
And yeah, tomorrow we get to reunite again in St. Louis. That'll be a good trip too. Excited for that.
Yeah, me too,
Get
man.
some
Me
more
too.
knowledge, man. So what I actually like to do with everybody is start out, let's talk about your background. So let's talk about who is Daniel Blue.
Just to kind of start off with some bang, Daniel Blue is a recovering OxyContin addict. So 18 years old, I got hooked on OxyContin, and 18 years old, I also had a kid. So the first few years of my adult life, I made one knucklehead decision after another knucklehead decision. So that really set the stage for me being an adult, and made a lot of decisions that turned out to, really get me to where I'm at today. My daughter's 10 years old, and she's doing great in school, and I'm clean. This November, we're filming this here, doing this podcast where it's late in October, and this November will actually be 10 years that I've been clean from pills. So it feels good to be clean and to be a dad, and so yeah, that's feel like one day, I'm gonna be able to look back at all of this and be thankful. And I already am thankful for some of those mistakes that helped me grow.
So, diving into this because I'm learning more about you as we sit here. So what made you make the change to kind of better yourself and get to where you are? Obviously, at the beginning, I talked about, you have a seven-figure company now. You're doing big things. I see it all the time on social media and everything, and getting to know you more too. So what overall made you, make that change?
So a lot of entrepreneurs I know probably listen to this podcast. So I think one thing that we have in common, no matter what kind of business that we own, we usually come from a sales background, right? At a young age, we got some kind of sales job. And usually that sales job is a low entry position where you just kind of start from the bottom, right? So I got started selling real estate coaching when I was 18 years old. Okay. And started off making pretty good money. And like I said, I ended up getting addicted to OxyContin, and then became a father. And once my daughter was born, I still was just being a knucklehead, and I was still addicted to OxyContin. And this November, actually Thanksgiving, it'll be 10 years. 10 years ago, it's Thanksgiving. I was trying to get high, and I was not able to find somebody to give me pills. All the drug dealers were actually being decent human beings that night, probably having Thanksgiving with their family. And here I was trying to score. No one was picking up their phone, and I'm freaking out because, when you're on OxyContin, and as we're doing this episode right now, people probably see in the news that these big companies, I think Johnson & Johnson, and these big pharmaceutical companies are paying billions of dollars settling these OxyContin lawsuits because people die. So when you don't have this drug, you start withdrawing. So I just remember it was Thanksgiving 10 years ago. I'm withdrawing. I'm not able to get, the pills I'm looking for. And I'm just like, dude, what am I doing with my life? My daughter was 6 months old at that time. And I was like, man, this isn't it. This is not what I'm here on earth to do. I'm not made to do this. So I decided to move to Vegas. I got out of Utah, moved to Vegas, and then still was in the sales industry. And because I sold real estate coaching, a lot of the clients I would talk to on the phone, they would talk to me about them using their retirement accounts to flip a house, or they're using their retirement accounts to purchase a property and rent it out. And I thought that was pretty cool because I was always under the impression that people use retirement accounts to buy stocks, not invest into real estate. So I'm like, okay, I didn't know that existed. So that planted the seed in my head at that time. So I stuck in the sales game for a while, selling, real estate coaching. And then I got to a point where I'm like, man, I want to learn more. I want to make a pivot. And I really like the financial world, more specifically self-directed retirement accounts. And I ended up quitting my job. I made less money for a period of time, but then I was able to move my way up and get to a point where about 2.5 years ago, Quest Education was born, the company that I own. And we're rocking and rolling. We're not where we want to be by any means, and there's a lot more work to do. But we've got clients in all 50 states, and it's our goal to really spread the message to help people understand that the old school way of having a 401k at your job or an IRA with Fidelity and being just limited in this account where it's so vanilla, it's so boring. You just get stocks. Like when you have a self-directed account, the sky's the limit. You can do so much more with your money. Right? You can invest into all different types of real estate, and it's just not taught. People aren't aware of this, and that's where we come in.
Yeah, and hearing your story too, I mean, it's unbelievable to hear, and I mean, I give you a lot of credit too, because it's unfortunate. I mean, you hear it all over the news, like you said, that drug addiction, especially pill addiction, is so huge now. I actually had a family member, an aunt, that died from a pill overdose too. So, I mean, it's just you coming from the background that you did and getting figuring out the direction to go to change your life is a pretty unbelievable story, and I'm sure there's a lot of people with similar stories out there or that need to hear your story too also.
Well, thanks, man. It's if you have not been personally affected by pills, like you just said, someone in your family has. I mean, it's an epidemic, and a lot of people
It's
die.
bad,
Yeah, families are broken. People, and then it's affecting kids. So they're growing up with it. So it's definitely an issue, and something I'm pretty passionate about, and want to be able to help people in any way I can, since I can relate to that.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. So, and I give you a lot of credit too for where you're at now today. So let's discuss your business a little bit. I mean, you just brushed on the company, why you chose to start. So why did you choose to be in the finance? I know you said obviously that you heard about financials with real estate and so on, but let's go deeper into that. Why did you choose that avenue versus a different sales avenue? Like you were selling real estate products, why not become a realtor?
Yeah.
So why'd you choose the financial business?
So in fourth grade, our teacher, one of the assignments that she gave us was we got to pick. This is when there was no internet, right? So it was the newspaper. That was really our media. And she gave us the newspaper and said, hey, like go to page 5 and there's the stock market exchange, right? I think it was the S&P 500. And she's like, I want you guys to pick 5 companies and we're going to follow these companies and see who wins, who picks the best stocks. And that was really cool for me to see. Like, I'm like, oh, okay, like Nike. All right, cool. And just seeing, how a stock worked. And that really resonated with me. I've always been fascinated with money in that regard and learning about money. So as I got older and learned about self-directed accounts, I'm like, man, like, and it did cross my mind, shoot, maybe I could go to school and get licensed and, work at Edward Jones or Fidelity and, be a broker or, things like that. But I'm like, dude, I'm just holding myself captive. I'm handcuffed to that. Like a self-directed account encompasses everything. If I have a self-directed account, retirement account, I can invest in stocks if I want, but I also can invest into real estate. I can invest into my own business. I can invest into your business. I can invest into crypto. I can invest into other alternative assets that I can't invest if I'm with Edward Jones or Fidelity, so that part really intrigued me.
Yeah, and that kind of goes into my next question with you too. I mean, because you've said, and that's what I like about getting to know you and talk about your company. When we first spoke, you kind of told me to, like, I felt that trust with you, unlike, a lot of these bigger outfits that you don't know where your money's going to go. I mean, they take it, they put it in stocks. You don't even know half the time what stocks, you got your cash in, and then when the market's down, you watch your cash go down.
Yeah.
So I mean, you say your mission is to educate Americans on retirement accounts, and I think you're doing really well doing it if people follow you on social and so on. So a lot of people, the problem is a lot of people don't think about getting a retirement account because they don't have a clue about it. So explain what retirement options there are and why is it so important to have one.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's two different types of people that are listening to this podcast. Either A, you have an existing 401k or an IRA somewhere, or B, you are just so engulfed with your business is your retirement account. And the thought of setting money aside in retirement isn't a priority because you're so involved in your business.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe you heard that 401ks and IRAs suck, so why bother setting one up, right? That's usually what the thought process is. So let's go to A. Someone that's got an IRA or a 401k set up, more often than not, that money's with Fidelity, right? Vanguard, Charles Schwab, Edward Jones, right? These big financial companies where they're just limited to the stock market, and that's it, right? But they could actually take those accounts and get them converted into either a self-directed IRA or maybe a solo 401k. That's another popular vehicle that we help people with. And if they have their money in a self-directed IRA or a solo 401k, they get the same options that they would have with Edward Jones or Charles Schwab over here, but they also get to flip the menu over and they get to have a bigger menu of investment options. Right? For example, I had a client that he used to work for a turf company in San Diego, and he'd been there like 15 years. He learned the business in and out, and he's like, man, I want to start my own turf business. So what he did is he took the 401k that he had through that company. He was able to convert that into a solo 401k, and then he took out 50,000, no penalties, no taxes, and then he was able to use that money to buy some equipment for him to get started with his business. So he was able to use his retirement account to fund his business, to start his business, to go from being an employee to an entrepreneur. So the solo 401k, for an example, it's a vehicle that allows you to take money out, no penalties, no taxes. If you've got an IRA with Fidelity or an IRA with Edward Jones and you want to take money out, you can, but you're going to get crushed in penalties and taxes. You're going to pay 20, 30, 40% in penalties and taxes. You're not going to have that with a self-directed account.
Yeah, and see, that's the thing too with these self-directed. Not a lot of people know it, like we just talked about too. But kind of going deeper into that too, a lot of people don't think about putting the money aside into let's say they're not focused on the tax savings and they're working a regular 9 to 5 job. Maybe they're making 40,000 a year. Why should that person obviously open up an account or a 401k or whatever with you? What reasons would they do it for too?
I think someone like that you're describing, someone that has no side hustle, no entrepreneur venture on the side, they're strictly W-2. I think it'd be important for that person to take advantage of like a Roth IRA. They can put up to 6,000 to 7,000 per year, depending on their age, into a Roth IRA. And when you put money into a Roth IRA, let's just say they put $6,000 into a Roth IRA. They're going to pay taxes. They're going to claim that 6,000 as income that year when they put it into the Roth IRA. But as that money grows, that 6,000, the money in the Roth IRA, as it grows tax-free. So imagine if they took 6,000 and every single year they put that into their Roth IRA, year after year after year. If they got that bad boy up to $100,000, $200,000 invested into some properties, into real estate, that's all tax-free.
Yeah.
Taxes aren't going down in the future, right? I mean, taxes, we're at a people complain about how high taxes are. And I read somewhere like, back in the early 1900s, the tax bracket, the tax rate was super, super high, a lot higher than what it is now, over 50%. So, if you can have a tax-free account, that's money, man. So someone like that you're just describing, I think that'd be a good option for them.
So what's the best way for them to go about getting set up with one, just briefly, so people know too, whether it's through you or?
Yeah, I mean, if they just want the stock market and that's it, some people are cool with just the stock market. They're okay with just having options in the stock market, right?
Hmm.
All they want, they don't want to touch real estate. They just want the stock market. I like Vanguard, Fidelity, TD Ameritrade, lower cost fees, lower cost accounts. So I think those are pretty good companies to work with, especially Vanguard, super low fees.
Hmm.
And then if they want a self-directed account where they're like, I'd like the ability to invest outside the stock market. I'd like to be able to control my own money. Then, working with a company like ours, we really are able to help them see, hey, here's how a self-directed Roth IRA works and how you can grow tax-free money. Here's how a solo 401k works. Right? A solo 401k is for business owners. And this account has all of the flexibility, right? Take money out with no penalties and taxes. Maybe fund that dream business of yours. Maybe you want to use a solo 401k to invest into, some multifamily or some commercial, property. So you could have the dream of, being a real estate investor, right? So we really pull the curtain back and we help people understand, like, here's this option, how it works. Here's this option, how it works. Oh, you're a business owner. Well, you can set up this type of account, things like that.
Yeah, so it's actually showing, taking the time to show people too, and make them have that understanding, which is really important because I mean it can be confusing too. A lot of people, well, it's probably more confusing than it actually is to people, to be honest with you.
For sure. And then especially if you're just getting pitched investments, I mean, then it
Yeah.
can really get confusing. And we don't pitch investments. We don't talk returns or specific investments because that's what most companies do. It's buy my crap. It's going to make you
Hmm.
money. We help people understand the vehicle. We sell the vehicle. We sell the
Hmm.
Roth IRA or the solo 401k or the Roth solo 401k. That's the vehicle. What
Hmm.
they put in this vehicle, that's up to them. They want insurance products in the vehicle, cool. They want commercial property in there, awesome. They want to do some flips in there, great. They want to do some private lending, awesome. They want to be able to use the money to invest in their own business,
Hmm.
you can do that. Invest into someone else's business, you could do that too.
Yeah, see, that's awesome. And not a lot of people know it, man. So that's why I have you on. So, and I mean, going deeper into this topic too, because obviously this show is about construction and real estate. And with those two topics, we don't really think of retirement accounts in that way or using it towards a construction project or a real estate project. Um, so but a retirement account can be important for someone being involved in these industries. So let's discuss why. So why is it important for, let's say, somebody in real estate or doing real estate or investing, or somebody building and construction maybe too? How can they implement it?
Yeah, I mean, I got to be careful about this topic because, I can't give financial advice
Hmm.
and, there are compliance and rules and regulations when it
Yeah,
comes to retirement accounts. I'll just speak in broad terms, but if
that's
you're a
fine.
developer, if you're doing construction and, you're developing a property, financing is always huge, right? We always need money, right? And you could go down the list of different ways you can get money, but maybe you have a group of friends that have money in retirement accounts. If they have money in a self-directed account, they could do a promissory note to you, where they lend money to you, and you use that money to go vertical, right? You use that money to build something, and you agree that they're going to lend you money for X amount of years. You agree on the rate of return that you're going to pay them, right? And everyone wins, right? You get your money to build, right? And then your goal is to either refinance or sell, right? And then they're happy because they lent you the money and they're making money, and then they get paid back with interest, right? So you got to be careful about this because you got regulation, you got
Hmm.
SEC and things like that. So for someone wanting to do that, the possibility is there. You just want to make sure from a compliance standpoint that you're above board, in being able to get creative, because there are people, I see a lot of our clients do that all day long, where they'll do private lending. They'll lend money on a commercial property, or they'll lend money on some flips, And, they essentially become their own bank. They get to pick and choose which deals they want to lend money on. So it works from both perspectives, right? If you're a developer, if you're doing construction, you need to have funds. How you get those funds, right? You got banks, you got private lenders, but maybe there's some people in your circle that have money in a retirement account that could, make a win-win situation come about. And then if you are, an investor and you want to participate in real estate, you could have the money in a self-directed account and you could be an active investor, right? You could use the money in the retirement account to purchase a property, put a little bit of money in it, flip it. And the cool part about that is if you have money in a self-directed account, you buy a property for $500,000 and then you turn around and sell it for $750,000, that money is within the retirement account. So there's no taxable hit that you're facing that year, right? So that's huge from a tax standpoint. And then, so if you want to be active, you can flip, you can do rentals, things like that, tax liens, or maybe you want to do more passive stuff. Maybe you just want to be a bank. You just want to lend money on good deals. You can just do that too.
Yeah, that's great to know, because I mean there is so many options with it that, like I keep saying, not a lot of people know. Because when I first spoke to you about it too, I was like, "Wait, you can do that? Wait, what?" And it's kind of just it's you don't really know. You don't, because I mean you're so used to the typical IRA accounts and everything like that, to where you just see your money slowly build up and so on. But I'd rather make my money work for me in other places, especially in real estate too. So.
Yeah. And there's a reason why a lot of people aren't aware of this. I think I read somewhere like maybe only 5% of Americans have self-directed accounts. And the reason why people aren't aware of this, it's by design. It's not a fluke. Think about it. Fidelity, Charles Schwab, Edward Jones, all these financial companies. Do they make money off of you if you were to use your retirement account to flip a house?
Yeah.
Do they make money off of you if you use your retirement account to invest in your own business?
Yeah.
No. They don't make money off of you. So why would they teach you about self-directed retirement accounts?
Yeah.
Either A, they don't know about it because they were just never taught, or B, they do know about it and they're probably going to try and talk you out of doing it, and they don't promote it because it just doesn't make them money. So it just comes down to understanding the options. Now, it's not the wild, wild west. With the self-directed account, do understand, the IRS, they're okay with these accounts. They're cool with them. This isn't like some illegal account. I mean, these are IRS regulated accounts, but they do have what are called prohibited transactions. So for example, you can't use the money in your self-directed account to purchase a property and then live in it. I was explaining private lending and doing a promissory note on a deal. You can't lend money to a lineal descendant, right? Billy, if you had a self-directed account, you couldn't lend your money to your dad, right? You can lend your money to a third party, right? So there are some prohibited transactions that you have to make sure that you are aware of, so then that way you don't get penalized.
Yeah, and it's like you said, they have to have. I mean, obviously have to have that because it's not a free for all too. Because it would be like the wild wild west if it was. So so let's talk. I want to talk about tax benefits on it too. Obviously, that's important. So let's dive a little deeper into that. What are some of the tax benefits from it? You've brushed on it throughout some of the questions I've asked you, but let's go a little deeper because it is such an important topic.
Yeah, I feel like one would be, if you buy a property and then you've got a good gain on it when you sell. If you buy a property for 500,000, turn around and sell it for 750,000, right? That 750,000 just goes right back into your retirement account as cash, and you're not having to claim that as income. There's no taxable ramification on that deal because it's done within the umbrella of a self-directed IRA or a solo 401k, as an example. So that's huge. Then you can just take that 750,000 and deploy it again, right? And just repeat. Right? So that's huge. Another huge benefit. This is the solo 401k. I was talking about a Roth IRA as an example. Roth IRA, the ceiling, the most that you can put in as far as new money, as far as taking money from your bank account and contributing it into the account, the most that you can do is 6,000 to 7,000 per year. That's the max. A solo 401k, you can put anywhere from $56,000 to $62,000 per year. That's a big difference.
Yeah.
And for the people that are making six figures, that are making good money, that are making money to where they need to maximize all the tax benefits that they can, I always talk about a Roth solo 401k. Because imagine this, Billy. Imagine taking $50,000 every year, putting that into a solo 401k Roth contribution. If you put $50,000 every year for 5 years, it's $250,000 that you put into the solo 401k Roth over 5 years. And then you take that $250,000 and it grew to $500,000 as an example. That's all tax free.
Yeah.
I mean, if you did that for 10 years straight, I mean, you could have $1 million tax free. I mean, that's huge. So a lot of tax advantages with retirement accounts. And that goes back to two types of people that are listening to this podcast. Either A, you have an IRA or 401k floating around somewhere, and maybe the idea of converting that into a self-directed account so you can control your own money, so you can have more flexibility appeals to you. Or B, you haven't had time, or you just haven't had the urge to set up a retirement account because you're like, those suck. But once you understand that they only suck because if your account is with Wallstreet, it sucks that you have no flexibility and you're limited to the stock market. I get that, but that's not the case with a self-directed account. So, maybe once you understand, oh shoot, I didn't know I could do this with a self-directed account. Why not take advantage of those tax benefits? Why not take some of the money that you've got in your bank account, money you have in savings and checkings, you're not getting any tax benefits from it. So why not take some of it, put it into a self-directed Roth IRA, for example, or solo 401k, maximize those tax benefits, and then turn around and control your own money. Invest it where you want, not Wall Street.
Yeah, it's like we talked about at the beginning too. Like when Wall Street controls your money, they control your money. So if you're losing money, I mean, who are you going to talk to? So, your it's gone. When it's gone, it's gone. But with a company like you and having that customer experience with you and actually care about the customer and what's happening to their money, and they have somebody to reach out to on the other line, like yourself, that's a big difference too. I kind of, as far as like somebody, let's say somebody doesn't want to have to deal with where their money's going or what they're doing. So if somebody called you and said, all right, hey, I'm going to contribute, or I'm going to put in, let's say 20 grand right now for my retirement, you do whatever, just make me money. How do you, and I know there's some of these questions you can't really technically answer to, but I'm still going to ask them. But how do you handle that situation to make sure that that customer is covered and making money and they don't take a huge loss if a market dips or something like that? Putting you on the spot.
Yeah, as well as I do, there's always risk in every investment.
Yeah.
So I've got two types of customers. One customer is going to already know what they're going to purchase. They already know they're going to buy this house on this cul-de-sac and flip it, right? So they already know. We just help process the paperwork and dot T's and dot I's. So a lot of my clients, they already know what they're going to invest their money in, and we just do the customer service and the facilitation. And then I've got another type of customer where they don't really know exactly where they're going to invest their money, and they'd like to talk to some of our third-party financial companies. So I do have a group of third-party financial companies, both in the stock market world and the real estate world, where if they'd like, they can talk to some of our third-party financial companies. There's no obligation in them having to work with them, but they can hear out those investment options. And if they like what they hear, they can move forward. If they don't, they can keep trying to find their own investments.
Awesome. Yeah. See, that's good to know too, because I mean, there is a lot of people too that have no idea where they want to do it. They just want that tax benefit on top of, they want to make, some money off of what they have in, instead of it sitting in a bank account collecting dust. Cause we all know bank accounts don't really get you much these days. So, so you'd rather not let it sit too. So,
For sure.
so there, And I don't know if you can answer this one. Is there any other ways to use retirement accounts towards creating wealth that you can think of off the top of your head as we sit here before we move on?
I mean, there's been some cool things I've seen with people using their retirement accounts. Like the example I gave, someone being able to use their retirement account to fund a business. I mean, that's huge. A lot of our clients are able to break free from their employer and break free from being a 9 to 5 employee and start their own business using the money in their retirement account. And that's a game changer, right? Because now their business can create them wealth. I've also seen some clients use money from the solo 401k. They take money out, no penalties, no taxes. They pay off some debt, maybe some credit card debt or some lines of credit. And that then saves them the nasty 10, 20% interest that they were paying on that debt. But then it brings up their credit score. So now they have a better credit score so they can go get that SBA. So they can go get that term loan. So they can go get that bigger line of credit to invest into their business. That's a wealth building tool,
Mm-hmm.
right? So the possibilities are really endless. I had a client here recently use a self-directed account where he wanted to start his own app. He needed like 50,000 to start his own app, and he was able to take the IRA he had with Charles Schwab, converted it into a self-directed account, took out 50,000, no penalties, no taxes, invested that into his app, got the app up and going, and then money that was left over in the account, he always wanted to purchase a cabin. There was a place in Colorado where he always wanted to have a cabin there. He just knew that just with VRBOs and Airbnbs really, disrupting the market, he's like, man, there's people that come out here on vacation all the time. If I could have a property here that I own and I can just rent this out. I mean, I'm going to rent this out so much. So he used 50K to start his app. And then he used the money that was left over to purchase a cabin. And he's just renting that out. It's just a rental property. It's doing pretty well for himself.
Yeah, that's great to know. I mean, I'm sure that you got a ton more examples too that you can give to as far as, but obviously it's definitely a big way to benefit yourself and your money too. So that's why we're going to keep talking about it. Let's talk about, like, as far as what other ways can a retirement account benefit a person in real estate, since this is about real estate too. Is there
Yeah.
any other off the top of your head that you can think of?
I mean, I've seen people use the self-directed account to go to an auction, buy foreclosures. There's some retirement accounts that are checkbook controlled where you literally have the money in your bank account and you have a checkbook that you just write checks from, and they're at the auction scooping up properties on site. I've seen people use money in the self-directed account to purchase or to get involved in wholesale, tax liens, tax deeds, foreclosures, flipping properties, rentals, commercial properties, residential, maybe, multifamily, uh, private lending, promissory notes, so you really have active and passive that you can participate in. So I've just seen a lot of people get involved, and that's a cool part about real estate. And you know more about real estate than I do. There's just not one segment in real estate. I mean, you have so many different layers,
Oh
so many
yeah.
different ways that you can make money in real estate, and a self-directed account typically can conform to one of those ways.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's real estate's, yeah, it's like you just said, there's a lot of different avenues you can take to make money in real estate, but then you also want to save money too. And that's why you're here today too. But also, with this show too, I've also learned that with a lot of the interviews that I've had, it's actually benefited people that have businesses out there, because I mean, they like to hear how others that are successful are running their businesses. So that's what I wanted to get into next with you. And I mean, this also helps the customer too on what to look for when looking for a financial company like yourself and others out there. So I want to talk about you a little bit. I mean, obviously, 7-figure company. You guys have been doing really good. You're growing and so on. So what are you doing during, like, your pre-planning stages? Let's start there. So what should customers look for at this stage? And we both know they're going to shop different companies, or they're going to go to one of the bigger Wall Street companies that are out there that are online because it's just that's what they know and that's it. So what can we do to help them select the right company based on quality and customer service and also connection and not just based on the easiest choice or maybe just price?
Yeah. So I think back to my point earlier, if they're comfortable with just the stock market and the menu of the stock market and the stock market only, and self-directed retirement accounts doesn't really appeal to them, then, and again, I don't make money off this endorsement. Just personally, I have an account with Fidelity.
Mm-hmm.
I like Fidelity because when I want to have the stock market, I like that setup that they have. Vanguard's very, very similar to Fidelity. So they're pretty close. TD Ameritrade, like them. So I think those are some good companies to look at if you just want the traditional Wall Street model. Then if you want the self-directed model, you want to break it down. Are you someone that is savvier than most, where you feel comfortable with the paperwork and the model of self-directed account and, some of the moving parts with the self-directed account? Because remember, self-directed account, there's no financial advisor. You're picking and choosing where to
Mm-hmm.
deploy your money. So, there is a little more onus on you. So are you someone that is a little more savvier than others and you don't need that much more, you don't need that much hand holding, and you already know where you're going to invest your money and you already know a lot of the paperwork side of things? If that's you, then we're not a good company to work with in that regard, because we are kind of on the higher side of the actual setup fee, because we do everything from a standpoint of, let's take you by the hand, let's educate you, let's introduce you to our third parties if you'd like. I mean, I've got a plethora of third party financial companies that I work with. I've got a company that I work with on the CPA accounting side, because a lot of our clients, they're real estate investors. They own brick and mortar businesses. They own websites, e-commerce, all different arenas of being a business owner. And we all have something in common, right? We all need an accountant, right? We probably all need money at some point. So I've been able to strategically establish relationships with different third-party companies, right? So I've got some companies in the tax arena. I've got some companies that can help people with traditional funding, maybe SBA, term loans, lines of credit. I've got a company on the estate, the will, the trust side. Maybe business credit, something that you need help with. I brought up the stock market, brought up real estate, right? So we've got this lineup of awesome companies that we can refer people to and introduce you to help you create more wealth. And not all these companies like ours have those strategic relationships. It's, okay, let's set up your account, and here's the step-by-step guide on how to do it. Figure it out by yourself. Best of luck. If you have questions, email us. And someone that's savvy, they probably don't need all the hand holding like I just described. But if you're someone that, wants to be able to, work with people more on an intimate level and have some more education, some more hand holding, more of that one-on-one experience, then, I feel like we're one of the best in the business at being able to provide that kind of value.
Yeah, which, believe it or not, there's probably a lot more people than you think that need the hand holding and so on and guidance too. Because me personally, I mean, I wouldn't know where to put the money. I know big as far as stocks and the big companies, stuff like that. But do I have the time to sit and research the best stocks that are going to make me the most money? No. Because we're all working, we all have businesses, we all have other obligations, and that's where hiring somebody like your company can come in and hold the hand and kind of guide to go where you need to go to, capitalize on your investment too. So, which is awesome. So, I mean, I always kind of ask this question. Oh, well, not always on this, but with your company growth, obviously managing employees, all the employees you have can be tough. You want to deliver the same experience that you have been for years. You obviously have your company core values and so on. So you want everybody to be on top with that. How can you maintain the same standard of service to your customers with, all the employees that you have as you expand and grow?
It's really just everyone knowing each other's role, knowing your role inside and out. being accountable for what you need to be accountable for, and
Mhm.
having really, really good communication. So, I'm a big proponent of Traction. Traction is a book written by Gino Wickman. He talks about just really having organizational structure and having everyone have the ability to row the boat at the same time. It's like a symphony. It's like a band. You've got people that play this instrument, that instrument, and you got to get everyone to come together and play at the same time or at different times, but it sounds smooth, and it's cohesive, right? We're a unit. And if people are unaware of what they're doing and what he's doing, and shit, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing, I think I know what I'm doing, you got a cluster. So, we take really great pride in just having accountability on all ends. I've got, this department that's accountable for this, that department's accountable for this, and I'm accountable to these people here. So it's just accountability on all levels, and communicating to really make sure that, any issues, because all companies have issues, big, medium, small, there's always challenges and issues, and just bringing those issues to the forefront. And, why are these issues happening? Let's peel the layers back. What's really going on here? And, okay, what are some solutions? And just always moving forward and always finding ways to get our machine to perform that much more efficient, that much quicker, and that much more in a way it's bringing more value to the marketplace.
Yeah, I'm big on the accountability aspect too, because even with our company, our construction company too, I mean, we're starting to structure it. I mean, you talked about the structure it better to where, everybody's accountable for a certain thing and task and doing that too, and not just all on one person where it's all a cluster. It's keeping everybody accountable for what they're supposed to do, whether you're in customer service or you're doing bidding or you're doing customer relationship stuff, so and so on. It's spot on what you said too, because that's what makes the machine run, right? So um, obviously, I want to ask you this question too. So your company is continuing to grow pretty fast over the past few years. What are you doing to stand out from the rest of the many financial companies out there? You've brushed on this. You've told me what you do, but let's go deeper into this.
Yeah, so I really think it's just being able to get in front of people a lot more, and I'm not saying, some Super Bowl commercial or, some billboard that you may or may not see. It's just adapting to the way business is being done in these days, right? And it's video, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
podcasts, it's, books, it's, speaking on stage. It's really, really getting yourself in a position to create a brand, and have people be able to know what you're about. So for us, it's really, what's going to separate me from, my competitors is, number one, our culture.
Mm-hmm.
And we're constantly, and you and I are part of the same entrepreneurial group where, the leaders of our entrepreneurial group, they're doing, 9 figures a year, and they just preach culture, 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 culture. So, culture is huge. Culture is a competitive advantage that you're going to have over someone else. And so really just honing in on our culture. How can we work closer as a unit and develop better culture? And then two, if we can create a really, really good culture and have our machine be able to run where the owner doesn't have to be able to do everything and be bogged down. The owner should be able to empower their team. The owner should be able to let other people shine and move up with the company. So then that way that the owner can be able to, do other things that can grow the company, right? And whether that's speaking on stage, whether that's going to events, whether that's, visiting companies across the country to, make a big deal happen to affect this group of people, is it ties together.
Mm-hmm. So you're saying I'm not going to see you drive down the Vegas Strip and see you on a billboard somewhere advertising anytime
You know,
soon?
you know I'm not going to say no to it, but I think my story, man. Like last year, I didn't even have social media.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
wasn't even on social media last year. Last year, I was afraid to get on camera and do a video.
yeah.
Last year, there's no way I would have, if you would have told me I would, been on stage this year, I'd been like, no way, So
Yeah.
if you're a business owner or you're thinking about becoming a business owner, you have to be able to adapt to the marketplace. And
Hmm.
whether you like social media or not, social media is a huge way for you to get in front of your audience. And I'm not a big fan of social media. To be transparent, I wouldn't be on social media if I didn't, just like a phone, right? To call a customer. It is a tool that you have to use for your business. So, really, really look at what your business is about, who are you serving, who are you helping, who are you impacting, who's your audience. And I bet you video, social media, podcasts, and speaking on stage is going to be able to have you stand
That's
out
huge.
from
Yeah.
your competitors, so you could really, really hone in your message and help people.
No, it's huge. And I was the same way as you. I mean, I was on social media though, but I wasn't really active on it. I mean, I
Yeah,
get tagged in pictures here and there and stuff like that. But me personally, as far as like, I never really cared about posting and stuff. But now, it's all about, and I probably wouldn't be on it maybe if I, because all my posts are really business related and that's it now. And, or they're value related too.
yeah,
And, I've seen since I've done it and done more of it that tracks people do see it. They may not tell you right away, but I've had random customers that I've sold stuff to or we built for. They say it all, they're like, oh, we saw your social media. It's great. Keep doing it, and stuff like that. And that just keeps you, wanting to do more of it. And it's proving that it does help big
yeah.
time. And
It's always
you
Yeah,
know,
it's always funny when somebody doesn't like or comment on your post, but then they slide in your
they,
DMs or they see you, at an event or somewhere, and they bring up that post, and it's just
That's the thing. I mean, with
people
the
to watch.
video too, you don't get a lot of likes on videos, but they see it. I mean, I saw a guy at the gas station that I went to high school with. I haven't seen him forever. He's like, "Oh man, I see your social media stuff all the time. I love it, man. Keep doing it." And I'm like, "Yeah, you don't like it, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
but hey, at least thanks for the compliment,
yeah,
man. But
for sure.
it's just the way it is too."
Yeah.
Let's talk about your customer service. I always talk about this with everybody too. Like, what do you focus on most as far as customer service? What things, has your company done to create a better focus on customer service?
One thing that we've done over the last year and a half that's been a game changer is account reviews. So that's been something that we've been super intentional about. So 3 to 4 times a year, we jump on the phone with our customers. Now they'll call in and talk to us throughout the year, but intentionally we will set up an appointment and get them on the phone with our team 3 to 4 times a year. And that call could be 10 minutes, could be an hour. And we just talk about, where are you? Let's check in. What's working? What's not working? Where do you need help? And that call can go so many different ways,
Hmm.
right? That's where maybe we introduce them to one of our third parties to solve one of their problems, or that's where we remind them that, hey, you could take out, looks like you could take out $40,000, no penalties, no taxes. And they're like, oh shoot, well, I could use that money to pay off this high interest rate credit card debt, or I could use this money to put in my flip that I'm doing. I forgot I could even do that, So it's just really staying in front of people. That's been super, super huge. Of course, with the RHA group that we're part of, handwritten cards, that goes a long way for people. So, we've implemented that a couple years ago. But it's that account review process. I highly recommend anyone that's in a service-based business. When you acquire a client, it's like dating somebody, right? When you date somebody, you're giving them all the love in the very beginning, but then the longer you're with them, it kind of slides, right? You kind of
Great
get
example.
comfortable. Yeah, you get comfortable, right? And so we just want to keep that flow going, where we never stop losing that sprinkle or that spark in the relationship. And a good way of doing that is just staying in front of them. And everything we do is on the phone, so that's huge. We're not, hey, we need to come to our office and make them stay in go in traffic. It's, hey, let's just jump on a call. 4 o'clock on Wednesday, great. Okay, awesome. Might be 20 minutes, might be 10, might be 40. But
Mhm.
there's a lot that comes out of that.
Yeah, the follow up is huge too. And I'm starting to implement that with us. I mean, it could be in any business. Like you said, it's continuing that relationship. So with us, if we built, I think we've done probably 200 homes. I mean, the people in the past, um, communicating with them now and just picking up the phone and calling them and saying, even if they're second, third owner of the house, being like, hey, you're in a Ryman house. If there's anything we can do to, if you're looking for a plumber or something like that, we'll set it up for you and get them over there. Just let us know. So it's that continuing that relationship. That's any company, but what you're doing is awesome too. I highly agree on that.
Thanks, man. Yeah, and we didn't think about it from that perspective, the perspective of like, we're going to make more money. We're going to make more money. It's, man, we got to deliver more value. We got to help these people with some more
Mm-hmm.
challenges that they may be facing. And by leading with value and leading with customer service and just asking questions and listening and trying to find out where we can help, next thing you know, we get referrals, you know, next thing you know, there's other streams of income that we can make that we would not have made had we not implemented that process.
Mm-hmm. So that kind of dove into my next question right there. I mean, they'll build a long-term relationships. I bring this up with every person because it's so huge. Uh, what other things are you doing to maintain relationships with customers after your transaction with them? Obviously, your business is different than mine. Ours is one big transaction. You're constantly with them, throughout the process for however many years they have their money with you. But what are you doing? I mean, to follow up even more and maintain those long-term relationships. What other things?
You know, when it's their birthday, we send them a handwritten card. I sign those, you know, so that's always, we have 1,000 customers. So right now it's not like, oh my gosh, I can't sign these cards. My goal, I want to get to 10,000 customers. You know, I really want to really scale this thing. And so it's just the small things, you know, handwritten cards, those account reviews. A couple years ago, we only had a few third-party relationships. And as far as with different companies that we can refer our clients to and bring into the picture to add value. And then here we are today, and we have a lot more than just a couple. And
Mm-hmm.
it's not, hey, let me just align myself with just this company and just rush it. You know, if I'm going to introduce our customer to a different company, a separate company, we want to make sure our reputation is on the line, obviously, at that point, since we're making that intro. So we want to make sure that person is reputable and they have a good service and they're going to give love to our customers. So I'm constantly trying to find other third parties that I can align myself with that are going to bring value to our customers.
Awesome. And let's go into you personally, back to you personally. So, I reading, knowing you, and I obviously reading up and following your story. You were a college dropout. Obviously, we heard your other story about being addicted to pills and so on. And now you run one of the fastest growing companies around in your area and so on, probably in the US. Let's put it that way. You're growing pretty fast and turned your life around towards success. What changed, and how can we personally all implement these changes into our own lives to better ourselves in whatever we do?
You
Tough
know,
question.
yeah, that's pretty deep. You know, the beautiful part about America and where we live today is, you know, if you don't have a college degree, you're not frowned upon.
Hmm.
Right? A lot of successful entrepreneurs, don't have degrees, and I'm not, saying if you have a degree, your worth is less. I mean, shoot, I do wish I had a degree. I feel like I would have learned a lot in college. So I think what really changed is being able to accept that adversity is going to shape us. And at the end of the day, like the sooner you can fail, the sooner you can get punched in the mouth, the sooner you can be like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? Like, am I going to live at my mom's house? Like, should I get a job at McDonald's? Like, the sooner, like, hopefully I don't get in trouble here, but the sooner shit hits the fan,
Hmm.
like, the better. Because then, like, you're learning. Then you're realizing, like, this isn't as bad as I really thought it was. And if you can really have one skill that's going to allow you to be a successful business owner, it's sales. Now, I'm not saying like close somebody and make a commission. I'm talking about communicating with people, right? Because as an owner, you have to be really, really good at communicating. It's not what you say, it's how you make that person feel. It's the energy that you give. It's how you say things, right? So you're constantly, as an owner, you're constantly selling, right? And again, I'm not saying on the phone making a commission or in person making, a commission when you sell a house. I'm saying like you got to sell your team, right? You got to
Mhm.
sell your spouse, your partner. You got to sell your partners. And I'm not talking about like some grimy sale, like, used car salesman pitch. I'm talking like really being able to communicate with that person and understand like what they're seeing, what you're not seeing, your blind spots, getting them to understand your vision, articulating your thoughts, and really making sure that you're super clear and intentional on what you're doing and how you're doing it and laying out that vision so people can really buy into what you're doing, right? Some of the most successful entrepreneurs, salespeople, think of, Bill Gates, Elon Musk, like those dudes are just master salesmen, and they have the ability to lead from the front and get people to buy into their vision. And so that's, to answer your question with change, is just being more polished, right? Like
Mhm.
I've always enjoyed selling and I was naturally pretty good when I got on the phone, 18, 19, 20 years old, making six figures a year, making good money, right? But then, okay, how do you go from a salesperson to transitioning to an owner,
Mhm.
right? I'm still using sales skills, but I got to be a lot more polished, right? I got to recognize that I can't just rely on my sales skills to run a company. I got to be good at critical thinking. I got to be good at operational. Not that I got to do all that myself, right? I got to be able to hire the right kind of people to plug into my machine, but I got to know enough about systems and operations so then that way I know I'm making a good decision for the business. So, it's really just going from a salesperson to a business owner. How can you make that transition happen? How can you recognize, oh shit, I'm not good at this. Let me ask help. Let me talk to someone that's been there. Let me be vulnerable and ask for help. And that's where I really love a group like what we're in right now in
Mhm.
Arate. There's other business owners that we can relate to. I've called you before. I'm like, dude, I'm going through this right now. What do you think?
Mhm.
I know you've talked to other people in the group, same thing. Like,
Oh
it's
yeah.
really, really good being able to self audit your situation and be like, okay, maybe I'm not seeing something here.
Mhm.
How can I grow? So that's a long winded answer to your question.
No, and that's actually really good because I mean, just brushing off the beginning of what you said too, it is so important to fail in a lot of different ways, and people are so scared of failure too. I mean, it's in all aspects of life. I mean, you've talked about it too a bunch of times. I mean, uh, I've wrecked my truck, been to jail. I've done, I've been divorced. I just been divorced, stuff like that. So, I mean, you learn from all these different life experiences, and being vulnerable and talking about it too actually helps you connect with people that have been through similar situations that are successful too.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people, and we bring up the group that we're in and so on, that are in the group that have similar stories and similar situations that we could all kind of help each other. And with sales too, I mean, you're constantly selling somebody every single day, like you said. No matter who you're talking to, you're selling them. You're selling yourself that you're not a hole to them. So
Yeah.
it's just everybody you talk to every single day. Every life is sales, and if you're not good at it, then that's unfortunate. I hate to say it, but I mean, you can get good and you can polish it, like you said, and learn more and educate yourself and invest in yourself too.
Yeah.
Like you're supposed to be doing. A lot of people, unfortunately, don't.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a really great answer too. Um, so I mean, most kind of back on you, most people don't really ask. Most of them ask about your past and so on. I want to kind of ask about your future. So the question I want to know is, what are your plans for the future? Whether it's business, life, where will you see Daniel Blue in the future? Who will you be? Let's talk about that a little bit.
I really just want to build the team that I have, within Quest Education. Like I said, I got about 12 employees and got a lot of people that have been with me for many years, and I want to give them an opportunity to keep growing with this company and have, the ability to continue to take care of their families and make more money and have a future. And, this is like the main vessel, Quest Education. And we're at 1,000 clients, and, we've facilitated probably close to $50 million worth of self-directed dollars. So I'm thinking, now I'm thinking my goal is I want to get to a point where we got 10,000 customers and hundreds of millions of dollars, because then I know, shoot, that's 10,000 people that might not have been able to maybe start their own business, 10,000 people that might not have been able to invest in real estate in the way that they thought it was, they thought they could do. So we really do change people's lives, and I want to have that number go higher in terms of changing people's lives. And I just want to be able to keep doing what I'm doing right now on a bigger scale. I'm a part of 2 nonprofits that help our community. One of them is for children, and I got a soft spot for children. I've got a past like everyone else does, and when our childhood goes a certain way, it all starts from the childhood years as far as cultivating our mindset and the limiting beliefs that we tell ourselves and we believe. And so I just want to be able to be a part of more nonprofits and being able to I have that entrepreneur bug, man. Like eventually I want to be able to have multiple businesses, but, I don't want to have a bunch of businesses that, are just on the teetering of not doing well. Like I want to be able to scale them the right way, processes, systems, operations, where they could be sustained on their own, where I don't have to be an owner operator, and I can just empower my team, be able to let them participate in the profits so they can be a part of, what we're doing and our mission. And, yeah, man, I want to be able to do things on just a completely different level, so I can be able to give back on a different scale as well.
Awesome, man. That's awesome to hear too. And I guarantee after hearing this today too, you got a lot of big things to come. So that's for sure. So one last question I always ask this to everybody, the most important question of them all: what exactly do people need to look for when hiring a financial company, and why should they choose Daniel Blue to work with?
I think back to when we talked about earlier, when you're looking at working with a financial company, do you want the stock market? If you do, we talked about Fidelity, Vanguard, TD Ameritrade. If you want insurance, there's some pretty good insurance companies out there. And I don't really know. I don't have a preference in that regard. I've seen some pretty good products from, MetLife and Voya and Prudential. So, those are some big insurance companies out there. If you want self-directed, where you can control your own money, then do you want to have more hand-holding, working with a company like ours? Or, are you okay doing things on your own? And, there's some cheaper companies out there that you can work with. So cool thing about working with us is before you start doing business with us, you're really going to get a feel of who we are and how we do things. So, if you're interested in being able to speak with our team and get an understanding of exactly how we can help you and what it looks like to work with someone like us, feel free to go to best way is yourquest.com. That's YOURQUEST, yourquest.com. It's got some information about us as a company. There's a contact us site on the part of the website where you can just enter your information in, and one of our specialists will give you a phone call to give you some love and help you understand how this works. Me personally, the best way to follow me, I'm pretty active on Facebook. So if you just look up Daniel Blue like the color, on Facebook, I think I'm the only Daniel Blue in Las Vegas. So if you see Daniel Blue Las Vegas, it's going to be me. My profile is public, so I do my best to add value there and intentionally post certain things to be able to bring some of this information to the world.
Daniel, this has been awesome, man. It's been great having you on today. So much good information about, a topic that not a lot of people know about too. And I'm very happy to have you on, man. So thank you again. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for the opportunity, man. I'm looking forward to actually seeing you in person
Yeah.
tomorrow and not through a computer screen. So let's do it, brother.
Yeah, it's about time right now. Tomorrow's going to be a good time. I'm looking forward to it too. But thanks for coming on, and thank you everybody for listening. And I will see you guys on the next episode.